Chapter 1. The air was thick with the scent of yarrow wood and smoke as Clara took aim with her longbow. The string, made from the hair of the local game called chuck, felt taut in her grip as she pulled it back with ease. She had trained in the art of archery since she was a young girl, and now, as a skilled hunter, she could make a kill from a great distance with precision. The sound of the string releasing the arrow was all too familiar, and the burning smell of the yarrow wood arrow point smoking in the distance was therapeutic for her. But as she released the arrow, she felt the string give way, and she knew she had to act fast. "This won't do," she muttered to herself, looking down at her prized longbow. "One more pull and this might blow up in my face." Clara watched as the old bull chuck took a few steps and then toppled over as her arrow pierced clear through the animal. She estimated that the arrow had gone through at least 3 of its 5 lungs. "Won't be going hungry for a couple of days," she sighed, slinging her longbow over her shoulder. As she approached the lifeless animal, she thanked it for its sacrifice and slid the point of a yarrow arrow into the beast's thorax. It gave a final release of breath, and she muttered, "Not my cleanest kill," glaring at her damaged longbow. "I know I have to go to the market, but things have been dangerous for travelers around these parts," she thought to herself. "Let's get you to my father," she said to the lifeless chuck as she pulled out her talisman. The family heirloom glinted in the sunlight as she held it in front of her and chanted, "Sac ma harl, sac ma harl, sac ma harl." The body of the chuck lifted from the ground and levitated to about eye level. "Let's get going," she continued, starting the half-day journey to her village. As Clara approached her father, King Caligo, and a few elders, she chuckled to herself. "Father, you wouldn't be proud of this shot if you'd been here," she said, gesturing to the lifeless chuck. "The land provides," King Caligo responded in a deep voice. "The land provides," she repeated. "At a cost," she continued, gesturing to her damaged longbow. "I see you must make the journey again," King Caligo said, understanding her need to mend her longbow. "Indeed, it's my duty to mend my longbow," Clara replied. "I know this, daughter, although you should wait until morning." "Things have been dangerous in the dark," King Caligo snickered. "Even for you," he continued, shaking his head. Clara knew she needed a new bowstring, and the best place to get one was in the city, where the black market weapons dealer, Heidi, operated. As she made her way through the dense forest, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She gripped her longbow tightly and kept a keen eye on her surroundings. Her village had been attacked by rifle company soldiers before, and she knew they wouldn't hesitate to attack her as well. As she reached the outskirts of the city, Clara saw the familiar red lantern hanging outside of Heidi's shop. She made her way through the crowded marketplace, dodging merchants and customers alike until she reached the door of the shop. Clara took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The interior of the shop was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the smell of oil and gunpowder. Clara's eyes adjusted to the darkness, and she saw rows upon rows of weapons lining the walls, from knives and swords to guns and grenades. At the back of the shop stood Heidi, a tall woman with dark hair and piercing eyes. "Greetings, Clara," Heidi said, a hint of a smile on her lips. "I see you're in need of a new bowstring." "Yes," Clara replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "And I was hoping you might have some chuck hair." Heidi nodded and gestured for Clara to follow her to a back room. As they walked, Clara couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. She had heard rumors that Heidi was more than just a weapons dealer. Some said she was a recruiter for the Nebul-i, the secret organization that was rumored to be fighting against RYPHL Co. "I heard that RYPHL Co. is moving closer to our territory," Heidi said as she rummaged through a drawer. "It's only a matter of time before they reach your village." Clara stiffened. "What do you mean?" "I mean that the Nebul-i are always looking for skilled fighters to help us defend Titanician," Heidi said, turning to face Clara. "And I think you would make a great addition to our cause." Clara was taken aback. She had never considered leaving her village to fight in a war, let alone joining a secret organization. But the more Heidi talked, the more Clara began to see the sense in what she was saying. "Think about it, Clara," Heidi said. "RYPHL Co. is a ruthless organization that will stop at nothing to gain power. They've already taken over most of the world, and if we don't do something soon, they'll take over everything." Clara nodded slowly, considering Heidi's words. She had always felt a sense of duty to protect her village, and if joining the Nebul-i would help her do that, then maybe it was worth it. "All right," Clara said finally. "I'll do it." Heidi smiled, and Clara couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and trepidation. She had no idea what she was getting into, but she knew that she had made a decision that would change the course of her life forever. The next morning, Clara made her way to the base of the mountains, where the Nebul-i training camp was located. She had been given instructions by Heidi, and she followed them carefully, making her way up the winding mountain path until she reached the entrance to the camp. As she stepped inside, Clara was struck by the sight of dozens of people training with weapons of all kinds. Some were practicing hand-to-hand combat, while others were firing guns or throwing knives. The camp is unlike anything Clara has ever seen. It's nestled deep in the mountains, surrounded by dense forests and jagged cliffs. The camp itself is a sprawling complex of futuristic buildings and training grounds. The rebels are a diverse group of fighters, each with their own unique skills and abilities. Clara observes the rebels training. Some are assassins, quick and stealthy. They move like shadows, striking from the darkness with deadly precision. Others are sentinels, wearing heavy armor and wielding powerful weapons. They stand like immovable mountains, defending their allies from any threat. And then there are the conjurers, rare and powerful individuals who possess the ability to manipulate space and time. Clara was overwhelmed by the sheer diversity of the group, but one person caught her eye. He was a man with dark hair and piercing eyes, moving with a fluid grace that belied his muscular build. He wore sleek, black armor that seemed to blend into the shadows, and he carried himself with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. As Clara watched, the man leaped into the air, spinning and landing on his feet without a sound. Heidi noticed her staring and said, "That's Caligo. He's one of our best." Clara was intrigued, but she also sensed a dangerous energy emanating from him. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but there was something about him that set her on edge. Nevertheless, she knew that she would have to work with him if she was going to survive the training camp and become a full-fledged member of the Nebul-i. As Clara watches, she begins to feel a sense of belonging. She has always been a hunter, but now she has the opportunity to fight for something greater than herself. She knows that the road ahead will be long and difficult, but she is determined to do whatever it takes to protect her village and the people of Titanician.